Hey, what's going on? Have you heard about our radio show? That's right, there's a medical marijuana radio show, and I do it for you every Thursday night at 8:30. And there's a medical marijuana radio show, and I do it for you every Thursday night at 8:30.
Hi, this is Stuart Richland from 420lawoffice.com and here on the YouTube channel. Well, it's a beautiful Saturday here in Los Angeles, and I was just checking out Google News today when I saw a repeat of the story about the cocaine and crack manufacturing collectives. And I just wanted to do a little bit of critique of the media handling and the timing. We're looking at a KTLA story. Chief Baca, LA County Sheriff deputies arrested 11 people during a major drug bust targeting medical marijuana clinics across Southern California. The 11 people were arrested on suspicion of drug dealing. The suspects are accused of illegally making and selling cocaine, meth, and marijuana at medical marijuana dispensaries in Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, and San Diego counties. Officials seized 35 marijuana plants, 75 pounds of pot, and 7 gallons of concentrated cannabis oil, plus 4,000 prepackaged marijuana-laced edible products, with a total value of about $350,000. Deputies were aided by local law enforcement, the U.S. DEA, the State Board of Equalization, and the Franchise Tax Board. According to authorities, officials found pot-laced crisp rice treats, orange drinks, and cannabis-laced cereals similar to Fruit Loops or Apple Jacks. Well, here's my commentary. First of all, the cereal and candy bars are common ways for sick patients who have difficulty in stomaching other edibles or smoking because of their illness so that they can get their medicine. Rice Krispie Treats is a very common way to make a marijuana edible because it simply requires that the marijuana butter or oil, which is cannabis infused, then be mixed with marshmallows and applied to cereal. It's the simplest way to cook with cannabis, and it's very digestible, and it's easy to regulate the dose because the patient learns how much of a piece of this Rice Krispie treat he needs. The other big scare in here is illegally making and selling cocaine, meth, and marijuana at dispensaries. Well, that's an outrageous claim that should be backed up by an arrest that would include seizure of cocaine, meth, or their related chemicals or byproducts. So, and seizing 35 marijuana plants, under the law, each patient that's a patient in California can grow 12 immature or 6 mature plants. That's the kind of old rule. Under Kelly, of course, there really is no per plant limit, just what the patient needs. But even using the old rule of thumb, it only takes 3 patients to grow 35 immature marijuana plants perfectly legally. So a collective with 35 plants among 11 people is minuscule in terms of its scope. 75 pounds of pot. There was just one bust, I believe, in one location, but 78 pounds of pot. Again, under California law, each patient under the old rule of thumb could have a half a pound. So a collective of just 200 people could have 100 pounds of cannabis. So 78 pounds of processed pot is not a big deal under California rules. Now, as far as gallons of concentrated cannabis oil, it sounds to me like this might have been olive oil or another oil that was concentrated for purposes of manufacturing the edibles. Or it may be that they had a couple gallons, 7 gallons, of concentrated cannabis oil that was then diluted in butter and then used to make these edibles. Some collectives do sell concentrated cannabis. Under Attorney General Lundgren's office during the beginning of the marijuana movement, the California Attorney General's office made a ruling that concentrated cannabis is to be considered no different from regular cannabis for purposes of patients' rights to have access to medicine. So technically, a California patient, each patient could have 8 ounces of concentrate. So again, if they have, that would more than cover many gallons of concentrated oil. So it's yet to be seen whether this collective can raise a proper defense under California law. It may well be that they have hundreds or thousands of patients for whom they care, and therefore these amounts are not unusual. It's also significant that there's no mention of seized money. Well, maybe the money just disappeared during the arrest, or maybe the money's been held by the government for seizure, but that should have been listed in the news story. So it tends to suggest that what they did was they located a kitchen, hopefully that was licensed as a commissary kitchen and that had every right to make this medicine in an edible that would be consumed by consumers. Of course, one of the problems is that there's a conflict of law. So if someone wishes to create a perfectly licensed kitchen, one is essentially outing that kitchen to potential federal interference. So many patients and collectives are under a hardship in that the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution says they have no obligation at any time to ever incriminate themselves, yet they have a right under the Compassionate Use Act to their medicine and to be able to care under the Medical Marijuana Program Act for members of their collective. So many of the kitchens, although hopefully compliant, may not be licensed, and that's a shame, and it's due to this conflict of law. But there's nothing in this story that makes total sense to me. I think it is interesting for us, the media, and that the PR machine is going to be using here in the last weeks before the Prop 19 vote. I think we're going to see anything goes. So, go to the market and get a big box of Morton salt so you can take a grain of salt with all these stories. That's about as good as I can do today. Okay, take good care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Every week. And you can get it at 420lawoffice.com. Just click 420 Radio Show, and you can download the podcast, and you can subscribe by clicking a button, and it's going to show up in your phone or in your iPod. So be sure to check out 420 Law Office Radio. I think you'll find it's rocking. All right, take good care.